Welcome to Entreprogrammers Podcast, the podcast for developreneurs, with your hosts, Josh Earl, Derek Bailey, and John Sonmez, the podcast where you get to be a fly on the wall listening to real conversations of three developers trying to tackle the challenges they face as entrepreneurs.
Hey, John Sonmez here, and I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank the sponsor for our podcast, Signal Leaf. Without Signal Leaf, we wouldn't have a place to host our podcast, and as you know, Signal Leaf is actually from one of our own here at Entreprogrammers. It is the creation of Derek Bailey. So Derek is actually the owner and creator of Signal Leaf, and it's a podcast hosting service. So if you are interested in creating your own podcast, go on over to signalleaf.com and sign up for an account today and check out how easy it is to get started. The thing I really like about Signal Leaf is just how easy it makes it for hosting your podcast. Of course, I have my own podcast, Get Up and Code, that I host at Signal Leaf, and I've been very happy with it. We're hosting Entreprogrammers there as well. And so thank you again, Signal Leaf, for sponsoring this show. And don't forget to check out Signal Leaf at signalleaf.com if you're interested in starting your own podcast. All right, we're on the air.
All right, so let me start this episode by saying, Josh, I hate you. you made my life miserable this week by having me promise not to look at my stats.
All right, well, that is good. That is good.
So, job well done. Thank you. Seriously, this is like one of the most difficult weeks I have ever had in terms of self-control issues. It's just, I'm a total addict when it comes to checking stats, and it's really bad, and I know that I shouldn't, but
Yeah.
So off the bat, I would notice that there was a dearth of whiny emails to the list, to our email list. None of us were.
There was.
I mean, except for John's little bummer about .NET Rocks, which turned out to be awesome.
An awesome thing, anyways.
None of us were whining as much as we usually do. So
That's true. That's true.
That's true, yeah. You know, I actually...
Except for me complaining about not being able to check.
Yeah. You had like a meta whine there.
I failed at it. I'll admit it. Like I was doing good the first couple of days. Well, what happened too is like I don't know. I started getting PayPal payments, and then there was an issue with DPD.
Yeah.
So then I went and looked in the back end, and then I was like, oh, since I'm here, I might as well.
Yeah, the same thing happened a couple of times. I have people with issues getting signed up, or I can't tell Leanpub to not send me emails for the bundles.
Right.
So I kept seeing those. I can't tell my sign-up system on Watch Me Code to not send me email when people sign up. I can't tell PayPal to not send me email when people, or Stripe, to not send me email. I mean, so there's all these individual emails that I kept getting.
Right.
But I did a pretty good job of not looking at the aggregated stats. There was the one post I did on Tuesday, about beware the free trial period, and I just couldn't resist looking at once, just the once. I opened up Google Analytics and looked at the live number of people. 196 people. That was like mind blowing. I've never seen that, even on my Los Techies blog.
So glad you did that post too, because that seemed like Hacker News bait right there.
It really was. It totally was. Yeah. All of that traffic was from Hacker News. I had 6,000 unique users on that page.
Wow. Nice. Yeah, that's nice.
Just that day. That was amazing. I mean, it turned out to a hill of nothing in terms of sales and long-term traffic and anything like that.
Right.
It's fun to have a single day huge bump in something like that.
Yeah.
And it gets you a bunch of exposure, and you'll pick up some long-term fans from it. And
I hope so.
Long tail.
Right. Backlinks will be good, that's for sure. Yeah. I've seen a lot of backlinks, a lot of people on Twitter tweeting it still. Even this morning I saw a couple of people tweet it. So it's definitely a long haul thing.
Yep. Yeah. My links on Lifehacker have been the same way. I only get maybe a few hundred hits a week from those now.
Maybe
but
only.
Just having that, PR 10,000 backlink is huge. So
Yeah. I had a number of startup business marketing type people tweet that article out. So
it was a really good article.
It's getting attention in the realms that I wanted the attention from.
Yeah, you did a great job. I love the pay me now.
Yes. I'm all trying to get you free. Pay me now.
Yeah, that was great. Very, very well executed.
Thanks. Yep. It was fun to write. I had a nice large glass of vodka and soda sitting in hand while I was writing it. So
that's the best writing.
Exactly. Yeah, I had a lot of fun writing it.
I'm writing my book now, and I have to like get a scotch during the day. I'm like,
yes,
it's like 12, but I just can't write. And it's like, oh, now I'm writing. Look at me.
John's gonna be going to AA after his book.
It's funny though, because like your voice comes out, all of a sudden it's like you're writing all this dull drab stuff, and
all
then
your
it's like,
inhibitions.
There we go. Hey guys.
Did
I just call my audience an idiot? Yes, I did.
I am amazing. And
oh man. So how I guess I'll talk about my week without stats. I'm going to be going back into this mode again. I really like this.
I think I'm going to try it again this week. As painful as it was.
It gets easier. I've done this before. Like I've done this for weeks at a time. So
right.
I mean, I wasn't perfect either. I have a Google Analytics widget on my dashboards on my blogs,
right.
So I could kind of see. I could see, okay, like when I'd log in to do a new post every day, I'd get a general idea. Okay, there was a huge spike the one day, but other than that, it was, I could tell that nothing unusual was going on.
Yeah.
And I was also getting emails from Leanpub about bundles and stuff, but not knowing the aggregate really took all the stress off, because I could imagine that I sold $10 that day,
right.
And I just got one email, so
right.
It was. But yeah, so I found a funny thing happening. Like I actually started caring more about my customers than the money coming in. Like I got a lot of really good email this week from people, and I was more focused on tracking stuff down for them and answering email and just interacting with people than I was focused on myself and how much money I was or wasn't making.
Right.
So it was, and this was a tough week to do it because I decided to dump a ton of money into ads as an experiment.
Yeah.
I spent close to $300 on ads on
wow.
Twitter, just to see what happened this week. And I still don't know. I'm going to look tomorrow and kind of total everything up and see. I'm expecting. It looked like, just from the emails that were coming in, I definitely made some sales. I think I at least broke even, so I'm not too worried about losing money this week. But yeah, it was really good. I was a little bummed on Monday just because I forget why. It had to do with the ads. Like I just felt like I was throwing money down the drain with the ads. But other than that, mentally I was in a much better place this week.
It would be really difficult for me to run ads and not be looking at the stats.
Yeah.
I when I was running ads, I haven't run any for a while, but when I was constantly tweaking them. Like every day, once a day at least, I would go in there, see what was performing well, what wasn't, take off the bottom and add a new one.
Right. So I need to analyze how my ads did this week, but I didn't. I feel like I looked at them this morning. I got kind of an idea. Actually pretty much paused everything I was doing so I could evaluate it tomorrow. But
right.
So what I did was I had 3 different campaigns. These were all Twitter ads. I had 3 different campaigns. One was a promoted accounts campaign, which I had done before, but I did another one where I took all the least expensive handles and I only targeted those followers. So anything under 10 cents a follow on my last campaign, I moved into this new campaign.
Interesting.
Yeah, and you can do that, like, because there were a couple of people on who I didn't even, Twitter suggested them to me. I didn't know who they were, right. And I was paying like $1.90 a follow from these accounts.
Wow.
So that really screws. Yeah. So this is actually pretty valid approach. Like you just throw a whole bunch of stuff at the wall, see what sticks. And then like Microsoft, for example, at Microsoft, pretty cheap for me to target. So I left them in there and took out, some of the more expensive, maybe Ruby on Rails accounts or something.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I got my cost per follow down to around 33 to 35 cents a piece, which is almost doable.
That's pretty good. I would pay that. I think.
That is fantastic, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, the Twitter rep was telling me people pay $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, $7 per follow.
Oh my gosh.
That's
And
insane.
They're
I
not
can't
making
even-
money on that.
No.
You're
Even
just,
if you're Coca-Cola or some huge corporation, that is money down the drain.
It is. You're not making that money from
I
a
have
follow.
almost 13,000 followers. I know what an account of that size can do, and I can generate 250 hits on my blog by tweeting something with that size of an account. And that would cost me at $2 or $3 a piece. That would cost me, $50,000 to $75,000. It's not. There's no ROI there. I'm sorry, unless you have some crazy expensive product that converts insanely well.
It doesn't matter.
Cancer. A cure for cancer would do it.
Yeah. I'll give it.
Cure for cancer. That account might be.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was getting 35 cents a follow. If I could convert 20% of those to email, which I think is probably doable, that's worth it. That's like I'm still closer to $2 per email sign up at that point, but I'd like it to be lower. But that's almost doable. But I paused that one, and then the other two that I was doing, one was a straight up. I dumped like $30 or $35 a day into that campaign that was doing really well, which was the Twitter cards, the lead gen card, the one-click email sign up. I had a couple people tweet at me like, "Oh no, I clicked this button. Does this mean I'm on your email list?" I'm like, "Yeah, when you click a button that says sign up, that's kind of what happens."
Right.
So I unsubscribed them manually, but so that campaign. So it was really interesting. I was getting 12% engagement on that. I was spending, I think, $5 or $10 a day. 12% engagement is like insane, through the roof.
Yeah, it is.
So I dumped $30 into it, and my engagement rate went down the drain. I don't know what to make of that. So I ended up paying closer to $2 per email sign up over the course of the week for that account, for that campaign. And I got a bunch of Twitter followers. I got like almost 200 Twitter followers out of it. So it wasn't a loss. I mean, I spent a lot of money on it. I wasn't happy with the result, but it wasn't a waste. And so not quite sure what to make of that. I'm starting to wonder if Twitter. Now, in direct mail, there's this thing I've read about where people will, like, you go to rent a list, a mailing list, and they'll ask. Usually, you're supposed to ask for a sample, and you say like, I want every nth name off this list, and they'll give you every 13th name or something like that. Well, there's a way they can do it where they can take the hottest prospects and make them so that you get like the hottest section of the list. Yeah. And then the list looks really good, and then you buy the full mailing list and you do your mailing and it tanks.
Right.
So I'm wondering if Twitter does some version of this where I couldn't fault them because they might target your highest likelihood audience first, like your best. So when you create a new campaign, they might target the best people first, and then if you dump more money into it, like you're going to see a really nice engagement rate up front, and then it's going to taper off. But if you dump more money into it, you're just going to see that taper off happen faster. I don't know if they do that. But it seems to explain what I saw. Well, so my engagement rate went down to like 3 or 4%,
which is still
good,
high.
But not for a Twitter card.
Yeah,
it's high for a regular tweet, but not great for a Twitter card. So, and I was still midweek. I was like in the 6 or 7% range, and I was still in the 100th percentile. That it's hard to do much better than that. But yeah, so I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm kind of thinking that the way to do Twitter is to just do a bunch of small campaigns, and like you said, Derek, like constant. I know it's irritating that you have to constantly tweak things, but I'm starting to think that Twitter, in terms of ads, is not the best platform. I mean, we kind of have thought that, but
we've gone through this a few times.
Yeah, what you want to do, like what I want to do with ads anyway, is I want to have, and this book that I've been reading, this 80/20 sales and marketing book, talks about this.
Like, I started reading.
It's good. It's good. So he talks about like basically pay-per-click advertising should be kind of your first. Like you kind of need to master that first if you really want to be able to scale up.
Right.
And with Google AdWords, you can figure out what works and you can optimize and optimize and optimize and optimize and keep getting better and better click-through rates. Well, Twitter punishes you. Mm-hmm. There's a time decay. So if you find something that works amazingly well, it's only going to work that well for a couple of days or a week, and then you're back to square one. You've learned like kind of how to work with Twitter, but you can't keep using the same material.
Right.
So you're constantly having to feed. It's like a black hole that you're constantly trying to feed.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless
so
you target different audiences, right? Unless you.
Yeah. Well, no, because I think the tweet there's. Yeah. You still have to constantly care and feed your tweets.
Yeah, it is a constant thing. When I was talking to that ad rep, however long ago, I mean, she flat out said, yeah, you need to keep refreshing the tweets in your list,
right.
Keep tweaking things, otherwise the campaign will go stale. Because Twitter has an average lifespan of like 15 minutes
right.
for the life of a tweet.
Yeah.
And so when you start looking at ads, okay, here's a tweet as an ad, the initial lifespan is going to be 15 minutes of that, and if it was a regular tweet, but even as an ad, it's going to end up having a shelf life. You're going to see a decline over time.
That decline happens faster than, like, it's not a natural decline. It's Twitter does it on purpose, I think. Like, it's not a natural. They want you to keep refreshing things and tweaking things. It's not that everybody's seen your ad, because at this point only a sixth of the people in my target audience have seen that ad.
Right.
And the effectiveness has dropped way, way down.
But how many people have seen it multiple times?
I don't know, but you can tell by my audience is up to 300,000 people, and I only have 48,000 impressions.
Mm-hmm.
So, so maybe my best prospects have already seen it, but so Twitter is not like I've been hoping to have it so that I could kind of get it set up and optimized, and then kind of let it run a little bit on its own. But
I don't think you can let it run for more than a week by itself.
I don't even think you can let it run for more than a day or two by itself, honestly.
I've had good luck letting them run for a week. Like start it on a weekend, stop it the next weekend kind of deal.
Yeah.
But beyond that is where I've seen it really decline.
Mm-hmm.
But that's for regular ads, though. I haven't done much with the cards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if the cards are better or worse, because they're super visible.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna keep working on it. I think it's been really valuable so far. I've gotten a lot of good subscribers, and the tone of the emails that I'm getting from people is starting to change. I think I'm still flushing out kind of the bad leads that I've had on there for a long time.
Right.
I'm still doing the daily emails, and people, I'm getting I've gotten 2 or 3 complaints, and I've gotten 20, 30, 40. This is amazing. This stuff's amazing. Like, I had people complain to me that they can't get any work done because they're reading all my content.
Yeah.
That's
your problem, dude. That's your problem.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. Dang, I just ruined your whole day. Sorry about that.
I wouldn't mind getting complaints like that.
Yeah, but so since I've been promoting the list as a daily list now, I'm getting people on there that are starting to expect it, and it's the expectations are changing, and it seems it's been really positive. But still got to keep working on this Twitter ad thing and get it. I need a system, even if it is something I have to mess with half an hour every few days. Like, it would just be nice to know kind of get the rhythm of it, which I don't have yet.
So. Well, and if you can systemize it, right, even if it does require tweaking or whatever, right, then you can hire it out, and then you can automate it. If you can't systemize it, you can't automate it, it becomes worthless because it doesn't scale.
I think part of the problem here is that Twitter is continuing to experiment themselves. They're changing things on a pretty regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an interesting point in here that I want to bring up about the stats, right? Because like I don't know. I mean, the checking of stats or not checking stats, like there's kind of extremes, right? And I don't think it's like don't check stats, right? I don't think that's I think it's like, because if you don't check stats at all, then you're kind of an idiot because you're not analyzing. Like I think we are all at some point where we didn't check stats, right? When we didn't know what we were doing, so we didn't even know who was visiting our blog or whatever.
Yeah.
We didn't know, and that was ignorance, right? You don't. But at the same time, like then we evolved to the checking stats like 5 times a day. Oh, hey, more blog views. But I think that the thing is, like, anytime you check stats, but checking stats does not give you information that you can act on immediately that actually affects something valuable. Then you're just then it's just masturbatory stat checking.
Pretty much.
Right. So it doesn't have any
vanity and getting depressed.
So like you said, Derick, like the checking stats on the Twitter because you use that information immediately to tweak the ad. That seems like perfectly valid. I would say for that one, checking stats when's needed but checking stats on like how many of a product you sold, like for our products, I think probably the cadence on that's necessary is maybe like a week. Like if you check it once a week, then you can make changes for the next week that might actually have an effect. But you're not doing them on a daily basis because you don't have enough information. Even things like blog visits, like there's probably like different levels of where, any point where you have collected enough data that you could make actions that would actually, improve things or make course correction is probably that number. So it's kind of interesting to think about where that is. And I was also thinking about like for some of the things, like I think I'm going to set up in Gmail my PayPal to auto forward it to a rule to go disappear it from me. Like I think there's some things that I could do to make it so that to stop those interruptions.
Yeah, see, I've got rules. I have all of my payment emails going into individual folders, and I disabled the notifications for those folders, so I don't. It's not like they're popping up and saying, "Oh, I got a payment." It's when I go in to actually look at email and read and respond to something, I see that there's 2 or 3 items in that folder over on the left.
Right. You just need some of these. Just put a sticky note, right there on your monitor.
Just over the folders. Yeah.
Right there, so I don't see it.
Yeah, just put on the sticky note. Just say, "Good job, Derick. You're awesome. You're making lots of sales, dude."
Exactly.
Yeah.
So interestingly, on the stats line and sales line, I sold a lot of book bundles this week, which was unusual. I typically sell more individual books than bundles, but it seemed to have flipped this week. And I think I had a total of 15 sales, and all but 1 or 2 were bundles. It was really odd. And so I because Leanpub sends those emails, whether I want them or not, I was thinking, man, I'm doing great this week. I typically sell a lot more individuals, and so I was expecting like some huge bumper sale week, and actually got in to check my sales this morning. It was like, oh, I sold 15, which is my typical. They were just all bundles instead of individual sales.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened, but
I did. I saw quite a few bundles this week too, probably more than average.
Yeah.
So
don't know what happened, but I'm 1 sale away from hitting 15,000 in royalties.
Nice.
Nice.
1 sale. Somebody go buy my book. Backboneplugins.com. Hit it right now.
By the time this airs, though,
That's true. It'll be well past that by the time.
Yeah.
I actually ended up doing pretty good with the .NET. I was it was like my release all over again. When the .NET Rocks episode aired, I was like, what? No one's buying this. What is going on? And then in the week, it's been just over a week since that episode went live,
Right.
I made 24 sales, so
Nice.
I pulled in about $5,000 worth of sales. Now, not all of them were for .NET Rocks. A couple were from the Freelancer Show, and then a couple were just organic sales or some affiliate sales. But yeah, it ended up being a pretty good. I can't complain about that. So.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and then I'm betting you continue to get several a month off of that for a long time. Honestly,
Yeah.
That's almost like a Hacker News type of, or not Hacker News, like Life Hacker type of thing.
Well, it's gonna have continued exposure because that comment thread has like 117 comments on it. Now, granted, a lot of them are mine because I'm replying to everyone on there, is pretty much. But still,
Are you like replying to duplicate? You're like copying and pasting your own reply multiple times.
That's it.
Sorry for the duplicate posts.
But I'm pretty sure that by far this is the most comments ever on a .NET Rocks episode. So, in fact, Carl had picked, or they had picked two winners. You know how they give the mugs away?
Right.
Two of them off of that episode of reading comments on there. So that means that in future episodes they're going to refer to this show, right? And they're probably going to say, "Man, we got a ridiculous number of comments on this show." So that's going to cause people to go back to it. Yep. So I think it is going to be good. Plus, I mean, I think that I've kind of secured my future appearances on the show with this, which is going to be great. Yeah. So that's it definitely was a win, an all around win for me. Even if I didn't sell as much as I did, it's still just that amount of exposure, and then the fact that the comments blew up like crazy, and I've never ever seen all positive comments. This was like the most amazing thing. Like I was ready, to hide under my desk, but it was like all positive stuff. So I think that'll be good.
Along the lines of shockingly positive comments, the Hacker News thread for my post on avoiding free trials was shockingly positive. There were a lot of people that said, "Wow, this is really good. I'm thinking about starting up, and hadn't thought about this." I had people say, "Yeah, I went through the exact same problem, and I ended up doing, money back guarantee instead, and it's much better." And there were, of course, a few idiots out there like, "Oh, why would I ever take business advice from a guy that started a podcasting service in 2013?" That was by far my favorite comment of all of them.
Yeah.
But even the people that were criticizing the post were largely saying, "Well, you probably should have done this, that, and the other, and you could reduce your costs by doing this," and like legitimately helpful criticisms of the way that I'm doing things. It was amazing to see the positive and constructive criticism coming out of Hacker News. I mean, that's just
awesome. That's great.
There's plenty of trolls in there, but the majority of it was really good and really useful.
All right. After this week, I feel like this video is, we don't have to kill murder. We don't have to kill Hacker News.
Murder Hacker News people. Scratch, 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 scratch. All right, so I have a question for you guys.
I just video memed you, by the way. All right. With my mailing list, you guys know I'm doing that. What software secret do you want to know?
Right.
I've got this fairly epic email that I've already sent to this guy and is scheduled for June 28th. The question was, how do I think in object-oriented design? Coming from a guy that's done a lot of procedural code and is kind of stuck in that mindset. And so the gist of the answer that I provided was think about roles and responsibilities. And I've got a really good article. It's pretty darn lengthy. And I sent it off to a friend of mine for a review, and she suggested that I turn this into multiple emails instead of one giant email. And I like the idea, but I really like the idea of turning this into like a drip feed of some sort, where where I use this on a squeeze page to say, "Hey, sign up for my mailing list, and I'll send you, this week-long course on how to think in object-oriented design." And the question is, what do I do at the end of that? What do I have that I could really sell, essentially promote at the very end of that, because this is information that I had to do a lot of research on to
Right.
pull out my own thoughts, just to have real names and real ideas. So I looked up a lot of blog posts and books and whatnot, and I listed all of those as resources at the end of this thing. And I want to turn this into a small email course that you can get over 3 or 5 days or however often it is. But I don't know what to do at the end of it. I don't know how to turn that information into something actionable and sellable and promotable
Right.
at the end of it. I need some advice and direction here.
Do you have anything object-oriented could you transition into a Watch Me Code?
I
pitch?
do, but the problem that I see.
Go ahead, sorry.
Well, the thing that makes me hesitant is at the very beginning of this article, which is really what it is, I start the whole thing by saying, stop thinking about the mechanics of objects and start thinking about the roles and responsibilities and the actual design of objects.
Okay.
And then all of my screencasts and my ebook and previous everything that I've written about the subject previously is all about the mechanics.
Well, there's your answer. I mean, so now you understand this high level stuff. Here's how to implement the details.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would be one way to take it, because with any kind of promotion like this or course or any kind of freebie, you always want it to be incomplete.
Right.
And you're incomplete. It's incomplete. And the next step, now here's how you can apply this knowledge.
Right.
You can transition right into your course or into your subscription service. The other option would be some sort of affiliate thing.
Yeah.
If there was something out there that you believed in, that was really good and would help people further, like kind of take. So if you wanted to offer them something to continue on thinking about this at a higher level,
right,
then an affiliate offer would probably be the way to go to make sense.
Okay, and I sort of have that in there. I've got 2 books that are available on Amazon that I'm doing affiliate links to.
Mm-hmm.
So there's book links, but I probably need to. I probably need to turn that into here's the series of emails, and then at the very end a separate email with continued resources, additional resources, and then another email with, and oh, by the way, here's my screencast if you want to know the mechanics of doing this in JavaScript.
Well, so initially I was going to say don't do this, because I was going to say this is just taking you down another path, and this is not, like, you've got a lot of stuff on your plate, and this is like a tangent that's not focused on your thing. But actually, after hearing Josh talk, I think you might be able to. I mean, because Watch Me Code right now is just JavaScript, right? But it doesn't have to be like, or I mean, what you could essentially do is you could essentially open up another venue in the Watch Me Code, because and say that you're also going to start a series on object-oriented programming, and then that would allow you to add some value to your Watch Me Code subscribers, but it also would allow you this other channel, and it might actually expand your audience, because now you can pull in not just JavaScript people, but anyone who's interested in OO stuff, and it's already a thing that you already know how to produce and package, and it'd be a natural flow. So I might actually do that, is just record a couple of screencasts or plan out like a series on OO. Your JavaScript people will probably enjoy that as well, because most people are working in multiple language environments, and then that would be a nice flow from your email to that, and you could see how that works. If it doesn't work out, you're not like diverting resources trying to start up a new business, because essentially anything else you do would be like starting a new business.
Yeah, book or
Yeah, you're right about that. I don't want to start a new business, even if it's a book or something. I mean, I've got plenty of other things on my plate. I see this as a potential for something quick and easy to help bolster my email list, though, because I went back and I listened to episode 4 of our podcast, and it was the episode where I was really down and talking about quitting screencasting entirely. And I got to the end of it, and I realized the amount of value that you guys had provided in there, and the number of things that I could do to help get little wins and help improve my mailing list conversions. And this is one of those things. Having something to get people onto the mailing list, to grow my mailing list. And I see this little series, converting this one article into a small series, as a way to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's something new. I don't think it's a tangent. I think it's an implementation of what you guys had previously suggested that I do, and it's something that I know I need to get good at doing. I still want to do the small Backbone course for backbonetraining.net as a marketing funnel. I want to start with this one now because I've already got the material. I've already written it as this one article.
Yeah.
It won't take me that long to turn it into multiple smaller articles and then have a resource list at the end.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the approach. That's kind of where I'm coming from with this.
I was listening to a podcast this week, and Clay Collins from Lead Pages was on it, and he was talking about, like, he likes to have a ton. He has a lot of different freebies to get on his list, because not everything's going to appeal.
Right.
You can do one. If you have really targeted traffic, you can do one and do pretty well with it. But if your traffic's going to be kind of all over the map because you write about a bunch of different things. And so you can offer, and you can do this with Lead Pages too, with the lead boxes and stuff.
Which is what I'm doing now.
Yeah, you can have, if you want, you can have multiple different, custom giveaways, and this would be one. I think this would be a great one to throw in the mix there. Right.
So my question, I guess, I had a number of thoughts around this. I could turn it into the small email course like we just talked about, or I could turn this article into something more of a pamphlet or infographic like John has in his course. It's an article, but it could use a lot of graphics to help illustrate some of the things that I'm saying, and it could be a really nice looking pamphlet as a freebie to give away on a squeeze page to sign up for my mailing list. Which one would be the best route? What would be the appropriate thing to do?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, it doesn't matter which one you pick necessarily, because I think they could both work. I think what's more important is if you get people on your email list, but then you don't have something for them there. You're going to have your emails, which will be valuable to them, but there's nothing that someone who came in from OO would want to buy, right? Because you're not selling, you're selling Signal Leaf, you're selling, but not really to that list, a JavaScript screencast and a JavaScript book. So you see what I'm saying is, like, that's my only concern is that, yeah, I agree that you can get a lot of emails from this and its value, but you got to think about where you're gonna, what is the ultimate goal? Because you could have 100,000 people on your email list, but if you don't have something to sell to them, that's why I was kind of thinking to do something on the Watch Me Code to make some videos, because then you've got something that you could sell them. And you could create another product around it, but that's where it becomes creating another business.
Right.
And right now I just couldn't see. Just think of it this way: like if you had 50,000 people come to your email list from this, however you market this but they came in to get OO information, then what would you do with them? You would. What kind of conversion rate would you expect them to buy JavaScript stuff? Obviously there'd be some of them, but you're not targeted. So that's why I think if you can figure out something to do with that, or you can make that a complement to what you're already doing in some way that adds more value to what you already have, rather than just collecting the email addresses without having something to do with them.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And I do like the idea of producing something on Watch Me Code for this. I was thinking similarly along those lines while I was walking home from lunch. think, because I've got my solid JavaScript presentation up on the Watch Me Code site already.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's part of my catalog. So, and that's one of the resources that I list at the end of this article that I wrote.
Yeah.
And so there's that. It's a free. Anybody can watch it. It's up on YouTube. And so I have a blog post about it, basically, listed in the episodes on Watch Me Code.
Right.
So I could continue from there, though. I've already started down that path.
Yeah.
People really like that presentation. I get a lot of compliments on it.
Yeah, that's
so
definitely needed with the JavaScript community too.
Right. I could get some good traction out of some episodes along those lines for sure. And it would definitely be more high level, presentation style of screencast versus code style. And there'd be code samples, but it would be like that solid presentation where the code samples are just static images that I talk about versus things that I actually code live.
Which would be easier to do also.
No.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Right now it takes me about an hour and a half to go end to end to produce a single screencast that is all code. It takes me about 40 hours to do the same thing with a presentation-based screencast.
Like an hour-long one, or?
Yeah, a 30-minute.
Okay.
Then put more code in it.
Yeah. But the concepts around this are concepts that I want to talk about at a very high level.
Yeah.
Because that's what this article is all about. There's no code in this article. It's all thoughts. It's all ideas. It's all about how you look at things, not the mechanics of doing things, because the mechanics change in the language that you're working in.
So here's an idea then. I mean, a simple one that I think Josh has suggested before, which is do like a webinar. Get people signed up for it, and then do a webinar where you kind of go through your presentation live and you answer questions, and then make that actual content.
That's a brilliant idea.
Because a webinar is a little more forgiving, right? Like if I produce some video and I'm like, this is my video, and it's just like me recording with no editing, then that's people feel ripped off. But if I take the exact same video and it was a webinar, it was a live recording of a thing, then everyone's forgiving. They're like, oh yeah, that's fine because he said he didn't edit it because it was a live webinar. So that might be a quick way to get that content and still the same value, really. I mean, but
small tangent to that. People get pissed off if they expect it to be a perfect edited screencast. People love it when you say, I did this thing live. Here it is.
Yeah.
Because even when I released my very first screencast, it was recorded live, no edits. I sat down, hit record, and published it.
Right.
People hated it. They didn't like it at all because they expected a professionally produced, edited screencast.
Right.
I changed the marketing. Didn't touch the screencast. All I did was change the marketing to say this is 100% live, no edits or anything, and people started loving it. It started selling like crazy.
There's a great phrase I heard recently called "making the skeletons dance," and this is a good example. It's like, so you got skeletons in your closet. You didn't edit the thing, right? So you sell it as a feature. It's live.
Yes.
Well, like this podcast, right?
Totally.
We have, there's edited podcasts, there's carefully, and then there's this where I use the word masturbation 2 times in the episodes.
So a couple thoughts about, trying to get back on track here.
This could turn into, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just thinking this could turn into a presentation that I could submit to conferences as well. I just submitted to Warm Conf this morning. I submitted my solid JavaScript and my JavaScript robots, and I wanted a third thing to submit. I wanted to give them a third option, and this would have been a phenomenal third option if I had had the time to write up the abstract and the title and all that.
Right. So getting double, we don't have time to not get double and triple duty out of everything. Like that email we did this week to your in response to that question, Derick, is a great example. Guy writes an email we both write a response. You get to send it out to your list. I'm going to turn it into a blog post and send it out to my list.
Yep.
So, we're getting a lot of mileage out of that. But so a couple of thoughts here. So just going back to John's point too about the object-oriented thing, I think partly it depends. I'm not sure that these people, like if you get a ton of Java people reading this, yeah, you don't have anything to offer them. But are you really going to get that, or are you going to get mostly Rails and JavaScript people because that's your audience?
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah.
You know what I
It's
mean?
mostly
like,
what I'm going to get anyways.
Yeah. If you have Scala, or I don't know, what's another object-oriented language?
Object-oriented Scala? What?
Yeah, I've never played with it, so I'm not even sure. So it might not be as bad as we think. So that was one thought on that. Also, so if you do this, I would vote for doing this as emails.
Okay.
I would say do it like as a 5-day series of emails, because that gets you in front of people 5 times. If it's a one-time giveaway, then half the people probably will never read it.
True.
This gets you in front of them 5 times, and you can plug your. I would plug your screencast every day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a link. Don't not necessarily a call to action, but at least mention it. As I said in the solid, like something like that.
Right.
I would also try to make it when you break it up, try to make it so that you leave an open loop every day. So at the end of the email, hint at something coming tomorrow.
Which is exactly what my friend had suggested. She pretty much said do email, do it one a day for however many days. Here's where you need to break it up. And she told me where to put the breaks, which emails to send, and what the teaser for the next email is going to be.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
She pretty much did the work for me, so it's kind of like nice. I just need to do it.
Yep. Yeah. The only other thing is I'm not sure how you promote this. Like maybe you promote it on. You could make a separate lead box for it and put it on certain blog posts that would be related.
I would certainly do that. I would have a squeeze page for it that I would probably run Twitter ads with cards, and I would take advantage of those avenues. There would probably be a blog post about this, like, hey, I've got this small series.
Blog the first episode of it.
Right.
Maybe.
Give them a teaser.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this sounds like a winner to me.
It does to me as well. I want to make sure I do this right. This is one of those things that I've been wanting to do for a long time now, and I finally have the material to do it with something. So let's make it happen.
This is good guest post material too, right?
Right.
And then put a link to the.
You can, by the way, you can use those lead boxes in guest posts on other people's blogs if they'll let you.
Yep. Yeah. Anywhere that's one of the reasons I signed up for those lead boxes. I mean, they advertise it. Anywhere you can put a link, you can get email signups.
Yeah, it's pretty cool feature.
It is.
JoshWorld.com/lead pages is my affiliate.
Oh man, I need to get affiliate links on that now.
Oh gosh, yeah, do the.
DerrickBailey.com/lead pages. It doesn't exist yet, but by the time you're listening to this, it will.
If you have Pretty Link, you guys have Pretty Link. That's a great plugin for that. So it makes it really easy to do the redirects.
That's true.
I'll have to get that plugin.
So.
All right, so that was my big question for the week.
Awesome.
Back to the world of stats. I've had. Let's see. This week I had 11 people sign up for Watch Me Code this week.
Nice. Have you had any people dropping off yet?
I have, and it's depressing me.
Yeah.
For the total for the month of May so far, I've had 45 people sign up, which comes out to, what is that? 645 divided by 16, 2.8 people per day. So almost 3 signups per day.
That's good.
I've lost, let's see, I've lost 20 people. No, 22 people.
And
in the same time period.
Where do you see that? Is that in your?
It's in the restrict. It's it's me doing math on the information available from Restrict Content Pro.
So what's your net?
My net is about 22.
You gained 22 total?
Yeah.
This month? That's good.
Yeah, that's still positive, which is good.
Yeah.
It's just
that's highly positive. I mean, if you gained one person a day, net, that would be pretty good. I mean, 30 people a month would be that's nothing to shake a stick at. I mean, that'd be some decent income. If you can maintain that growth, you'd be sailing a yacht pretty soon.
Yeah, not
a little yacht, like a
very small in my bathtub.
Yeah,
driving a small remote controlled yacht.
Exactly.
No, because I mean your average price is around what, $15 a month, 10?
About $9 a month.
Oh, $9. Okay, so even
the vast majority of these are coming in with a coupon discount code.
If your monthly revenue is increasing by $300 a month every month, that's almost $4,000 a year monthly. I mean, even 1 year. So I mean, we don't have much stats to go on, but I'm just saying that if you hit that would be insane, right? You would be actually in a few years. You would be riding around on your yacht, actually. Yeah. So yes, I was right the first.
I've heard the average length. I think it's going to be 3 to 6 months before we know what your churn rate is.
Right.
Because I've heard the average is something like 3 months on a membership site.
Right.
So, I think it's going to be higher for you. I think it will be much higher than that, but I'm guessing.
But see, this is why, and you might want to implement this if you haven't already. This is why a lot of sites do the whole get a discount, pay a year in advance, or or buy a lifetime membership for.
No, definitely not doing a lifetime. Yeah. Recurring revenue is what I need, not one time.
Oh my God. Not lifetime. Well, but it makes no difference in the long run. So for example,
with this site, I know
you don't want to be on the hook to produce all this content for the rest.
Exactly. For SignalLeaf, I am all about a one year membership of SignalLeaf, because it's your problem if you don't use it. With Watch Me Code, if I get tired of this or get sick and can't do it, it's a different story.
I mean, I wouldn't want to do it either.
If you're projecting out a year, you can always, and just put in fine print, if for some reason Watch Me Code goes down, we will prorate you back at the X rate, whatever,
I also had a number of other screencast service people say don't do it.
The thing is, if someone is going to cancel after 1 month, right, or 2 months, if you could have gotten that person to buy 6 months or 1 year, right, that's a big difference in the.
Well, but you probably would have to prorate that.
Yeah.
What do you mean prorate it?
You have to prorate a refund if they cancel after a month. If they paid for a year.
No, they can't cancel after a month if they paid for a year. That's.
The way the Restrict Content Pro works is, if you pay for a month today and you cancel tomorrow, you don't get a refund. You get access until the end of your period.
Right. Exactly.
So if I gave people the option of a 1 year subscription, they would maintain access to everything for a year, even if they canceled tomorrow.
Right. Exactly.
They wouldn't get a refund.
Right. Exactly.
Except for I do offer a 30-day money back guarantee. So far, nobody's asked for it.
Right. So it's something to experiment with, and as long as you put in the fine print, because I was just looking at a site today, and it had lifetime membership, and it was a really large number, and I was like, oh wow, I wouldn't want to be on the hook for forever, right? For keeping the service running. But then I was like, well, wait a minute. Obviously, if I did this, what I would do is just put in the fine print, just say, look, the lifetime membership is is guaranteed at least this much time, otherwise we're going to refund you X amount of dollars, and lifetime is as long as the service is running. That's what lifetime means. It means as long as I have
the life of the service, not the life of you.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So that I think that's the whole thing. I mean, but obviously I wouldn't recommend doing a lifetime, but it might be worth putting.
If someone wants to give me $5,000.
Well, I mean, it might be worth putting the year out there, because because not only do I think that it's going to probably take some of your 1 month or 2 month people that would drop off and get them to actually pay you out for, I mean, for a year would actually probably be equivalent of 10 months or 9 or 8, somewhere like that, because you're going to discount that.
Yeah, I'd probably do 10.
But it might also convince some people to buy because you're able to show a bargain there, and sometimes, so it might actually increase your conversion rate overall, because some people might go to the site and they're like, oh, this is a pretty dang good deal. I don't want to miss this deal. Let me sign up for a year, whereas they wouldn't have even signed up for 1 month, for a month to month, because they weren't getting a deal. So, I don't know, it might be something to think about. And as long as you put in the fine print, you say, look, hey, if this is what happens if I get sick or I don't, or the service shuts down or whatever,
right.
You know, it's spelled out here, you're going to get so much money back, or you don't, or this is your risk, or, you know, I mean, you can do whatever you want there, but it might make sense to put that option in there, or at least experiment with it and see if it works.
Yeah.
You could try a partial. You could test it with like a 90-day thing, like a 3-month subscription.
Sure.
Because that doesn't really commit you as much.
One of the other problems that I've heard from people that have done things like this is at the end of that period of time, people tend to get confused and upset. Like, what is this? Why did I suddenly have this $300 charge? Or credit cards are canceled and they suddenly don't have access. It causes a lot of hard feelings in the customers that have not been paying anything for the last year, and suddenly they don't have access, or suddenly there's this huge charge on their credit card and they don't know what's going on or remember why. I mean, this is feedback that I had from somebody who's doing a SaaS that wanted to get rid of his 30-day trial because at the end of 30 days, people are confused about why they're suddenly getting charged.
Well, a 30-day. This is a little different than a 30-day trial, and
it's the same concept. The issue that he ran into wasn't that the 30-day trial was ending; it's that people forgot that they had to pay for this, and now suddenly they have to, and they're complaining that I forgot, and this is frustrating, and my credit card was canceled, and all these problems that he's running into. So that there's more than just me being on the hook for this. There's at the end of a year, most people are going to cancel because.
But that's a customer education issue, and then also, I guess you need to have more stats. But if you knew for sure, you could just take this right down to numbers. If you knew for sure that the average life of your customer was 3 months, then this would be a no-brainer. Then I would say you absolutely you want to do this because if people are basically staying on for 3 months and you're convincing some of them to stay on for a year, that's a winning situation. Even if that would cause some of the very small percentage of people that would stay on for 2 years to not, you see what I'm saying, to drop off and only stay on for 1, you're going to be making up way more money by causing people that would stay on for 3 months to pay for a year. So, you got to have the numbers, but the thing is, like, almost all of the sites that offer subscriptions that I see nowadays online, it's rare to see a service, and I'm talking about well-funded services like Dropbox and any kind of subscription-based service, even Office, Office Online. They all offer this model. So there must be a reason why. Unless your retention rate is extremely ridiculously good, which maybe it will be, so far.
Yeah, I don't have the stats to show that.
Yeah, I could almost guarantee that it's going to be more profitable to offer those, if assuming you're successful in converting people over to the year purchase.
Right. So that's another report that I need in RCP. I emailed the guy that builds it and asked him for a couple of other reports already. I'll add that one to the list. I need the average life of a customer.
Yeah. But yeah, that'll be interesting. In 6 months you'll have good data on that, I think, or at least decent data.
Right. So most likely it'll be 3 to 6 months before I want to try that option, because I want to have that data before I try it. Otherwise, I'm just changing for the sake of change.
Yeah. Even if I agree. Even if you don't go with with that kind of option, it would be really good to have a higher dollar value option of some kind.
I thought about that as well, and
some sort of upsell.
Right.
There's going to be people who will buy that.
My thought there was a corporate account. I've had multiple people ask for corporate accounts, which this plugin doesn't support it right now. I could do it. There's an option in the add-on that prevents multiple logins from the same email address, and I have it turned on right now. It's turned on by default.
Yeah.
But I could turn that off and just say, hey, if you guys want a corporate account, here's the $150 a month license, and you can have as many people as you want from your company log in through your one account.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like a no-brainer. If it might be a little extra, white legwork on your part, but probably well worth it.
It would be 5 minutes of work.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, uncheck that option, go add the plan, I'm done.
Well, you'd have to.
I'd have to advertise it, but
yeah, you'd have to do that for every new person that signed up, right?
No.
That option. Oh no, that's just a global thing.
It's a global option.
You just advertise that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, I would do that.
Yep.
By the way, I got new headphones here. I got
nice.
Oh, you do?
I got the Audio Technica ATX 50, I think they're
Nice.
called.
What's the affiliate link for that?
It'll be in the show notes.
Oh, by the way, John, your blatant Amazon affiliate link was completely awesome this week.
You like that?
I'd like to advertise this microphone as a $50 option for podcasting. It's a phenomenal microphone that you should go buy right now.
It's
Here's my
Audio
affiliate
Technica, too. No, but these headphones, because I wish I could. I'm probably going to sell my other ones because these are wired, right? These are
Right.
wired headphones. They come with a nice big long wire though. It's amazing the sound quality. I got them for $75. There was a deal on Slick Deals where it was like a remanufactured. I think they normally go for $100, which is still a pretty good deal. But I could not believe I might actually listen to music now because it's just amazing the quality, and it doesn't hurt my ears so far.
Nice.
This is
nice.
I'm impressed. So
Nice.
Yeah. I spent like $300 on those other ones, and they're a piece of crap.
Yep. All right. So, what should my corporate price be? Because or perhaps I could do multiple tiers of a corporate license. I could have one for up to 10 people, and then one for up to 50, and then unlimited or something like that.
I would say limit. I don't know. That seems like a lot of choices, and
it does.
Complications kill your conversions. So
right.
I would pick something seem reasonable. And
have a Watch Me Code personal license and Watch Me Code corporate license.
Well, you need a big tier corporate though. You need because otherwise, I mean, what if Microsoft comes in and says, "Oh yeah, hey, look, now all our employees can use your right." That's not going to work.
Point.
So you need something that's I think maybe just if it's up to 100 people or up to whatever that number is, and then call for pricing for past that.
There we go.
Because then you can talk to them. Because then if it is someone really big, you're not going to undersell yourself.
Right.
So.
Right. If I get.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Big
Shop Incorporated saying, "Hey, we love your stuff. We want to throw money at you when we have 150 people."
Yeah.
I don't want to give 150 people access for 150 a month.
Right. Exactly.
I'd like to get a couple of $100 out of that. That's not a bad idea.
Yep, do it.
All right. So what should my price range and limits be? Because I'm going to turn this on right now.
I don't know. Honestly, I would look around. Does Pluralsight have
that's a good idea.
This type of thing? Look at some competitors and see.
Pluralsight is expensive. They have more of a specialized market niche. I mean, they have a very broad audience, but it's still it's not just screencasts. It's training. It's more than just screencasts. So they're not a fair comparison, I don't think. There are plenty of others. I mean, NS Screencast and Ruby
Well,
Topic.
honestly, if you're talking a corporate license, I don't really think the price matters all that much.
True.
Because people are spending other people's money.
Yeah.
True.
And as long as it's not like $10,000, I think you're gonna be. I don't think it really. I don't. It's not like people are. Should I feed my kids tonight, or should I buy the screencast?
Right.
It's.
I had a guy almost say that, actually. He got really close.
My kids could just hold on for like a week. I could get a much better job, and then they could eat better,
It was really close. I'm surprised he didn't mention kids. It was a guy in another country where, quite frankly, the standards of earnings are far less than America. So I'm not surprised that he was asking for a discount. Not a big deal. He got to my site through the Web Tools Weekly that I've had those tips in, and he's like, "Hey, I love what I'm seeing here. I found you through Web Tools Weekly. Do you have a discount code that I could get? Because I'm a student over here in whatever country," and he seemed legit, and so I responded to him like, "Hey, Web Tools Weekly has a discount code. Here it is." Like, "Oh yeah, great, woo!" So I ended up getting a customer out of that, but the email was I'm a student and this is how much money I have and I need to be able to pay for college and I don't remember exactly what he said. It was almost a sob story. It was like borderline, like, okay, you seem legit, but you're laying it on a little heavy.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, but yeah, I'll think of something. Maybe I'll say like up to 30 people or something, and
the only requirement really is that it's got to be a discount off of what it would cost to have 30 people.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's pretty stupid, right? Like you'll get some dumb people to sign up for it.
Maybe that's actually twice as much money than if you bought.
Exactly. I worked at a gas station / fast food chain when I was in college, and it was a A&W, and they had really good cheeseburgers. And I worked there, so I get a discount. The discount that I got made it cheaper for me to buy 2 bacon cheeseburgers. It would cost me $1.98 to buy two bacon cheeseburgers, versus the discount that I got for buying a double bacon cheeseburger would cost me $2.10.
Nice.
So I'm paying less for you to do more work and give me more food and the extra wrapper.
Yeah, but see, it's not always about the how much you get. It's because then it costs you more electricity to run on the treadmill to burn off that extra. Sometimes I go into a store, like I go into a convenience store, and I'll buy like a candy bar or something, and they'll be like, "Oh, well, you get 2. It's 2 for 1."
Right.
And I'm like, "No, I just want one."
One.
I don't understand. I don't understand. Why don't you want the other one? Like, because I only want 1 candy bar. Like,
I don't need to.
Same. You're leaving 50 cents. It's 50 cents, man.
That exact same thing happened to me with energy drinks a couple days ago. I went in and bought a sugar-free Monster, whatever it was. It was $1.75 for the dumb thing, and the cashier rings it up and says, "These are 2 for $2." I don't want 2 of them. It's 25. No, I don't want 2 of them. Okay.
You pitch in the quarter, and you can have one for a quarter. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could do. I mean, if I did like a 30-person limit for the corporate account at $14 a month, that'd be $420. I could legitimately say $299, and that's $120 off. That seems legit to me.
So I was trying to think. There was something else I was going to mention. Oh, I had an idea. Well, I got to get my lists merged over because my How to Market Yourself list has almost 600 people on it now, wow. And the other one has is like 3,400. But I've run out. I only have like 4 emails or 5 emails on the How to Market Yourself, and then these people are just hanging out there.
Yeah.
But I had an idea. I think I was going to send to that How to Market Yourself list because I'm stopping. I'm not giving away my 10 steps course for free anymore. I'm ending that. Like it's not the giveaway because I'm going to start charging money for it. I'm going to charge $100 for it. I believe.
Yeah.
I'll probably discount it down from like 200 or 150 or something to 100. But I was thinking about sending an email to my list of those 600 people who still haven't bought the How to Market Yourself course and saying, hey, look, I'm going to throw in the 10 steps course.
Right.
$100 value or $200 value,
Nice.
and if you buy it now, the How to Market Yourself, but this is only going to be good for X number of days.
Do it. I think
that'd be
awesome.
good. And then after I'm done doing that, then I'll probably transition all those people onto the other list and then set it up so that everyone goes to the main list. And I got to figure out how to get the emails in there.
Right.
But I think I need to get that figured out because I feel like I'm wasting all these signups.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, MailChimp will let you merge one list into another.
Yes, but they will not let you do that if you've had autorespond. If you have active autoresponders.
Disable your autoresponders.
Well, and then you got to wait a week.
Well, my first step to doing this is to take to put new autoresponders on my regular list.
Mm-hmm.
So that my regular list has the autoresponders for the How to Market Yourself course, but instead of being like one a day for 4 days, it'll be spaced out over like 4 weeks because you'll already be getting on every week you'll be getting 3 emails from me, right? I don't want to send like 7 in 1 week. I want people to be getting my regular content and then have this kind of disperse in there. So that's kind of step 1. And then step 2 was I was going to change all my lead boxes and stuff to target the one list, the main list. And then step 3 was to turn off the autoresponders on the old list, which is now not getting any new people, and then let that fizzle and then move them over. So.
Right.
In fact, I'm just writing a chapter in my book about how teaching makes you learn, and that I could not have told you that process until I just told it to you now, right? Like now I spent like an hour last night thinking about this, and those words did not come to my mind. But now that I've just tried to explain what I was going to do, now I know what to do. Yep. So there we go.
I'm the same way. That's half the time that I come up with something simple, something brilliant, something easy, I've spent forever thinking about it. Can't get the words out of my head to describe it appropriately, and then somebody asks a question, and it's there. I have the words. I know how to say it. Yeah, it's because I'm engaged in the conversation, and it's because I've had the thoughts running around in the back of my head. It's the whole inspiration side of the problem where you've done the upfront work, you've pounded your head against your desk, you know what the problem is and what all the constraints and all the information is, and you just need that one little spark to finally funnel it into something meaningful.
Yep.
That's one thing I've been finding too. I've done a couple podcast interviews, and I've found that too. Like I actually am more creative, like come up with better and more creative ways of explaining things a lot of times on the fly when I'm not sitting there trying to agonize about it. It's interesting to...
Yeah, like my brother, this is probably 20 years ago, my brother wanted to know what the difference between memory and hard drive space was. And just, nobody had ever asked me the question before. I knew what the difference was. I knew how it worked. But right there, he asked me the question, and the first thing that popped out of my mouth was, well, a hard drive is like having the floor in your office, and the desk is like your memory. Your floor is covered in papers, all sat next to each other. And when you want to use one of those papers, you pick it up off the floor and you put it on your desk, and that's your memory. When you're done with that paper, you put it back on the floor for storage, and you put something else on the desk in its place.
You know, if you were someone who had paper all over your floor, I don't know that you'd be organized enough to work on only one sheet of paper at a time.
But it got the point across.
Yeah.
That illustration, that analogy made perfect sense to him at the time, and he from that day forward knew the difference between a hard drive and memory, and I never had to explain it to him again. But it's those kinds of moments of, how do I explain it to this person that I know? I have an understanding of this person, their experience, their knowledge, what they would relate to, and here's the analogy that I can give you. It's those kinds of inspired moments that I really enjoy.
Well, it's interesting because I mean, all teaching is really it has to be analogies, right?
Right.
You always, when you teach someone something, you take some frame of reference that they understand, and you relate this new thing to in some way to something they already know.
Right.
And in fact, that's the most effective way to teach. Is if you already know something, and if you're a race car driver, and I can somehow relate whatever I'm saying to some concept that maps to race car driving, then I'm going to teach you in the most effective way possible, because we don't really have the capability to learn anything new. It's always how does this relate to what we already have experienced or know.
That's why it's so easy to learn a new programming language. I mean, like, you're just like, okay.
But not a new programming paradigm.
Yeah, exactly. Going object-oriented to, not procedural, but object-oriented. Yeah, to functional is, mind-blowing. But object-oriented is like, okay.
Yeah, it's just syntax.
Here's a loop, it's like a one-to-one almost.
Right.
Draw the connections.
Yeah, there's a lot of psychology to back up everything that we just said. My wife, being a psychologist, I get to talk to her about this stuff a lot. And there's an actual process of learning. I can't remember the exact steps offhand, but it's something like you start out not understanding at all, then you assimilate the knowledge into your own experience, and then you assume the knowledge, or I may have those two backwards, assume and then assimilate or something, but the point of those steps is exactly what John just said. You don't know, and then you relate it to what you already understand, and then you understand it. Mm-hmm. And that's a known thing in psychology. That's how people learn.
There's actually a step between the you don't know and you relate to what you know, which is you go on Hacker News and you comment about it.
We gotta bring the hate against Hacker News. After the nice things we said
you don't know, you assimilate it into your knowledge. You comment on Hacker News because you're obviously more intelligent than the person that does know. And then you do know.
Yeah.
Nice.
Then you go to inform a startup.
Exactly. Then you go and form a startup. All right.
So, John, one thing I wanted to say. So, you mentioned the autoresponder thing. So, if you check out this 80/20 book, and this is kind of the direction I'm headed now. Is so Perry Marshall he's like one of the top dogs. He's this guy. He's like the world-renowned AdWords expert. And he's done like he's done a Facebook book. The guy, he's actually a programmer.
Okay.
And I've been really, really impressed with everything he's done that I've read so far. But he has this this diagram, the 80/20 power curve, which is like an exponential curve, up into the right. Mm-hmm. And you get higher leverage the farther you go to the right. And he really suggests that you need to start with PPC as like your first. So basically, what I'm going to be focusing on is I got to get my sales pages to where I can drive cold traffic to them and convert something.
Interesting.
Like right now, if I drove 1,000 clicks to my page, I don't think I'd sell anything, honestly. I might sell a couple. I'm not selling hot traffic. I mean, I've got red hot traffic coming off of my mailing list, and I'm selling less than 1% on that page. So what I'm going to be trying to do is I need to get that page solid and work my way backwards from there. So like I wouldn't worry. I mean, it's a good idea to put autoresponders out there. I wouldn't spend too much time though at this point trying to really think through the sequence and optimize it, because you don't have your sales page nailed down yet. So you don't know how to sell your product. And I don't know how to sell my product really. So I need to start there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to test out some headlines this week, and so I'm going to work on a headline, and then I'm going to strip my sales page down to like all above the fold, an image of the product, some bullets, a couple of FAQ type of things, and a headline, and then I'm going to start adding to it from there, and then once I get it to where I think it's decent. Because at this point I can't hurt anything, and if the page is, if I try to write a full sales page, there's going to be too many variables. So I want to start adding pieces in chunks. And then when I get it to where I think it's decent and it's converting at, maybe 1 or 2%, I'm going to start driving traffic to it.
Cold traffic from pay-per-click?
Yeah, I'm going to try for a while.
That makes a lot of sense to me, because if you can convert cold traffic from pay-per-click, right?
Yes.
Then first of all, I mean, that's your gauntlet, right? It's going to, if that's going to be your test, your best test for optimizing it, because you won't know you'll know that these people didn't like you, or, you didn't influence them some other way. So that makes a lot of sense. And then it's such a good base, because if you could actually make money, if you're actually pulling in, you're making some kind of profit margin above the pay-per-click on that page, then you've got a solid base. Then it's like you don't have to sweat anymore, and then whatever you do is gravy on top. So
I doubt that you're going to be profitable doing that, though. It's a great way to test and optimize, but I don't think you're going to be profitable. I think you're going to end up with people buying things, and you'll be able to optimize your conversion rate based on doing that, but your profitability is going to come from building your list and,
I agree.
Getting people that are already familiar with you and have a relationship with you to go to the page after that.
I don't know. I think you could.
For me, the problem is I don't have enough volume coming off of my list.
Yeah.
I have. Well, John, so your perspective on this is different, because you're selling a freaking $300 product.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm selling the $22 ebook. I doubt I'm going to make money doing this. I'm willing to spend, $1,000 or $2,000 to educate myself on this and get my sales page converting it. If I could get my sales page converting at 2, 3, 4%, I would be making decent money, because right now I'm driving 200-300 clicks a week from my emails easily.
Yeah.
And I'm not converting those.
Right.
So if I could convert, 3% of that, that would be like 6 sales, 6 sales a week that I'm not getting now. And that seems very doable.
You might try even. I mean, yeah, I agree, but just thinking out loud here, because you're saying that 200, 300 people are clicking and not buying. Start emailing some of those people that have clicked, especially people that have clicked multiple times. Like, look, you can sort by click count, and you can see.
Yeah.
And just be like, hey, dude, what's going on? Or why aren't you buying the product? Or what, do you have any concerns, questions? Or just be straight up like, look, I'm trying to figure this thing out, how to sell this thing. Like, so what would make you buy this, or why aren't you buying it? Why did you click it?
Yeah. That's
if you buy my
send him a meme that says buy my shit.
But that book is I'm still reading it. I bought a Kindle and the print version of it. It's really, really good. 80/20.
I started reading it last night, and the dude is really good at hand waving.
Well,
he's got a lot of really valuable information, but he's really good at hand waving. I'll stick through it. I'm gonna read the thing, because I think there is enough value in there that I can look past the hand waving. But I'm only on the intro at this point. I read the preface from whoever that guy was, and I'm reading the intro now, and there's a lot of holy crap, this is so amazing, you won't believe what happened next. I mean, there really is a lot of that in the intro, and based on your glowing reviews of all the information so far, I'm going to stick through it because I really need this information, but I get really skeptical about that kind of content really quickly. But
I'll be interested to see what you think of it overall.
I got one more comment to make before I have to leave to pick up my son. John, on your stuff with your how to market yourself, I keep wondering if that title alone is scaring people away. Because a lot of developers, myself included, see marketing and they run away screaming.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Corey House with his Outlier Developer site and course. And it's very similar material covering the same kinds of things, but the title outlier developer gives me more of a happy, positive idea instead of marketing, which gives me a negative feeling. I wonder if you put up a second page, don't touch the content.
Yeah.
Just retitle the page and how you market it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Try that as an experiment. Come up with a name that is not anything to do with marketing, but gives something more like outlier developer, and try that for a while and advertise that in concert with the existing marketing, and see if one of them sells better than the other.
I thought about that. I mean, and I think you're right, actually. And I came up with the name in that 24-hour sleep deprived child, right? So it wasn't the best name for it because marketing does have a negative connotation. So there's kind of two sides to it. Yes, I agree. If I were building another product today, would I call it that? No, I wouldn't. But there's so I'll probably do that. But I've also invested a lot in educating developers, and I have been pretty successful in educating developers about marketing, about it not being so bad, because I've been on, I think 8 podcasts now talking about this topic. And
for those leads, I think you're going to be perfectly fine. I think it's the cold leads, the people that are new to you and don't have a history of hearing you tell them that marketing is not evil. I think that's where the name is going to have an impact.
Right. So I'll definitely experiment with that. The trouble is all the branding and stuff, like in the photos, is so it might even be like, just if you don't say the name of the course, even if the course name stays the same, but until later on, until you have the chance to disarm and talk about the marketing side. So I think you're right, though. I mean, this is something that I thought about for a while, but yeah, it's probably true. So
all right, so that was my parting thought for the week. I really do got to go now.
Okay.
All right, you guys can keep talking if you want, but I'm out.
All right, do you want to keep going for a few minutes, John, or?
Sure. Yeah, I got a couple more minutes.
Okay. Yeah. I think that would be a good headline test on Twitter, even. To try to come up with, and we've seen that in some of the ads that we've been looking at. Just that you can really bury. I mean, the name of the product is almost inconsequential in a lot of ads. Like you don't even introduce it a lot of times until the last third or so, right before you just show what's in it. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I'll definitely experiment with that at some point. Right now, I've got to kill the bigger fish right now, which is the just getting the sales funnels set up. I need to get this email thing. I've got kind of a list of things, and I know that the big thing that I need to do is get the sales funnel set up correctly, like to make sure that, because I'm getting a lot of hot leads. I'm getting 20 to 25 email signups a day. And I am not converting those email signups very well at all. And I can convert them. I know that I can because when I'm on .NET Rocks, for example, when I'm delivering the correct message, it's connecting and clicking. And so I don't know. I got to figure out a way to deliver that same message and to be able to track this stuff. But what I want to do is get a new lead magnet for the signups that actually preps for the conversion, and then a tripwire in place, and then get to the product. I think if I can go down that path, I'll have a lot more success in converting. So. Yeah.
Yep. So on that power curve that I was talking about, so he's got. I don't have it in front of me, but he has PPC, and then email's the third, I think, the third item that he says you should focus on. I forget what the second is. But so I'm gonna be, I think I'm doing really well with the email right now. I've got kind of the middle, and social media is towards the far end. That's one of the last things you should pick up. I'm doing well with social media and email, but not at the core, the basic. Where it really matters, I'm striking out. So.
Yeah, the Google AdWords is definitely something that's been on my I think that because if you can actually get profitable off of that, that's going to be your biggest fuel, because that's a bucket that never runs out. You can throw as much money at it as you have, and you will keep on getting reach. So I think that's certainly worth trying to get figured out.
AdWords is interesting to me because it seems to address the problems that Twitter ads that I mentioned earlier with Twitter ads. Like, it seems like with Google ads, like if you can A/B test your way to success. With Twitter ads, you can A/B test something and you learn something, but you can't you can't pocket that difference.
Yeah.
You can't. It's not like you've nailed down, like you've got an A. You got you're testing against your control. You beat the control. Okay, now you have a new standard, and we can try to beat that. No, it's like every week you're having to come up with something new and brilliant to stay. And it's like it's a treadmill. It's a hamster wheel.
Yep, exactly.
But I don't think for me, I don't know if I could honestly, if AdWords would work for my products right now.
It might not. I mean, but it might be. I mean, you might need a more expensive product in there, and it might be that it works in the sense of it gets you a customer at the same cost. Like, or you're at a slight negative, but you know that you'll now have, something that you'll make more money off later on. So
the problem is they don't really let you. You can't do lead gen the same way that you can with Twitter. Like, you can't advertise an opt-in page on AdWords.
I don't believe that until I see it, because
so what you can do is you can advertise. Google's terms and conditions prohibit harvesting user information. What you can do is you can send them to an optimized landing page that includes a sign-up link, but it also has to have other things. Like, it has to have, basically, like, they want you to drive it to a product page that also has an opt-in form. You can do that, but you can't just send it straight to a squeeze page, and you'll get banned.
I don't know how they could really, like,
they
I
review all your ads by hand, or like there's an approval process, and people get banned from AdWords all the time. Like, it does happen. So
well, I've heard AdSense, but I haven't really heard AdWords.
Yeah, both. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think they keep a lot closer eye on, like, the make money online people and stuff. But I mean, you're kind of flirting with that with your product.
I guess it's kind of flirting with. I don't know. I guess it's worth exploring more. I mean, I think probably maybe in your book it'll have maybe that guy or looking at an AdWords expert to try and get that.
I'd seen, like, so on a Warrior forum they were talking about this, and they were saying that the best people to look at are, like, lawyers and financial people, because they are doing lead gen, and I looked at a few of those pages, and they were like what I'm describing, where it's like about us, and like, there's a bunch of information on the page that was, and then, like, the opt-in form was, like, actually hidden. It was collapsed. You had to click something to go, like, it wasn't, like, front and center. It was, like, at the footer, and you had to actually take an action to even show it.
Well, you know what I would do is, I mean, I guess when I do go down this road, I'll be talking to an AdSense account, an AdWords account specialist, right? And I will I'll just go through, because they're really easy to get a hold of. I'll just go through and be like, look, this is my landing page. I want to get, you know what I mean? And if they're like nodding and checking off the check marks, then you're okay. If they say, no, wait a minute, you can't do this, then you say, okay, well, how do I modify this so that I can? And then, I mean, then you're, like, flirting right up against the line that's allowed, because I think that would make sense to me, because I wouldn't want to take the risk, but at the same time, if you're getting the nod, I want to be as bold as I could possibly be. So
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I could do. So the problem for me is, like, AdWords. It seems really expensive. Every time I've ever tried to run ads on there, I've ended up paying. I mean, they were crappy ads. I mean, I was getting low engagement rates and stuff, but I was still paying 50 cents to $1 a click.
Yeah.
If my sales page converted at 5% for cold traffic, I might be able to break even. If I was paying $1 per click, I would break even on that. But that's 5% on AdWords traffic doesn't seem very doable. And if I could do lead gen, get really high engagement and super low cost per click, like 20 cents or something, that I could make profitable. But then the other option is if I could do some sort of lead gen and get people for less than $3 or less than $4, and I can expand my product line to the point where I could make money on that, then it would be worth it.
Well, one interesting thing that was it that Ryan D's guy? Was that the guy that I sent you for the land? Well,
yeah.
When I attended his presentation, his webinar, one really interesting thing that struck with me, probably more than anything else that he said, was that if you can increase the amount of money you make per customer, so that's why he was talking about the tripwire and the product and the cross sale, right? If you nail down that part where your sales funnel is making you more money per customer, then then your biggest problem just disappeared, which is acquisition. Right. Because now you can spend 2 to 3 times what you're spending on acquisition or whatever it is. Like your acquisition costs can be, you can afford to dump tons of money into that because so that made sense to me. It's like the solution really is not to try and make it so that you cheaply acquire customers as cheaply as possible. The solution is to make it so that you make a lot more money off of each customer, so then that you can afford to not have to be frugal with the acquisition cost, and who cares if it's $10 a customer or whatever that number needs to be. So that made a lot of sense to me. That might be something that you look at too with your business, is if you can increase it on the back end, then then a whole bunch of doors will open to you all of a sudden.
Right. Yeah, and if I can get so I really want to focus on getting that sales page converting better, and learning as much as I can about driving traffic with ads, and then from there, I think I'll probably go back to what I had originally said to you guys, was that I was going to start building those lower, less expensive, easier to create products, maybe $10 a month.
Yeah. For
for a 20, 30 page ebook that I could bang out in an afternoon or 2 afternoons or something, and then that if I could start selling those repeatedly to people, so my average now, instead of 2 ebooks, I have 10 short report type of things that I could sell to every customer. That would be huge, because I'd be increasing my frequency of sale at that point. So
exactly,
it becomes almost like recurring revenue.
Yeah, and then at some point, then you have the option of bundling things to make like a big, couple $100 product, or you can throw in a video that ties a bow on the whole thing or something like that. So
yeah, I think I'm also going to do, since I've been writing all these emails, I think I'm going to do with my book, like when I get the sales page stripped down, one thing I'm going to test is different offers, and I think I'm going to take 10 or 20 of my most popular emails and bundle them up into a little book and throw that in as a special, bonus.
Yep.
To sweeten that price a little bit.
Yep, that's a good idea. All right, I actually better get going here. I still got to bang out a chapter. I'm on chapter 32 of my book.
Oh man.
Of
it's
80.
It's a slog.
Yeah. I'm trying to hit 1 a day now, like, and some days getting 2. And yeah, so we'll see.
It's pretty good progress though.
Yeah, it's about I was hitting, when I was doing 2 chapters a day, I was hitting like 4,000 or 5,000 words a day. So now I'm when one chapter a day is around 2,000 words. So
yeah, that's a pretty. That's a professional writer level of output. That's what a lot of authors shoot for. So that's seems pretty reasonable to me, as long as if your editors are not setting their hair on fire.
Yeah.
Deadlines and stuff. That seems like a pretty good rate.
No, yeah, I think it'll be fine. It's just a long. This is a long book, so that's the thing. So I just got to get through it, and then I've got it. I'm 1/3 done on Monday. So 1/3 of it went out to reviewers, went out to 14 reviewers. So I'll be getting feedback, and they'll have to make changes, but we'll see. It's an interesting process. I'm so eager to work on other things, so this is just taking so much of my time. But I got to finish this project. So
yeah. Well, at least it seems like it'll be pretty short and intense, and then you can get past it. It's what, like 2-3 months the way you've scheduled it. So
yeah, exactly. Yep.
At least it's not like a year.
Yep, exactly. All right. Well, have a good one. Yep.
You too. See you.
Take care.
Wanna start a business, but you just know how to code. Listen to John, Josh, and Derick as we figure it out. We are the Entreprogrammers, and we'll teach you straight up to be developer